Bought my hex from the fucking start. Point one every day we mark. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hit restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hit restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Checking my MetaMask moving. Look at the hex, he is mooning. Looking at why they be choosing. Peter is why they be losing. Pull chains out and they'll get me a check. He's gas up and it got me a mess. Remember the times he died collect. Hex I been eating, I'm dying in the best. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this PULSECHAIN lingo. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this PULSECHAIN lingo. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hit restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hit restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Richard Hart. Richard Hart. Richard Hart. Richard Hart.
What's up, guys? How's everybody doing today? My name is GRC. This is Hex in the Morning. My co-host, Sam Stolt, is in the building. Sam, real quick, I wanted to, now that we're getting a little more popular, everyone's DMing me about the shields, okay? So I do want to say a couple things about the shield so I don't have to answer every DM.
Go right ahead.
Yeah, you know how unorganized I am, so I want to do this now. Guys, if you want any of these shields, first of all, if you are broke, if you don't have a great position in cryptocurrency or any other assets, do not buy stuff like shields. Don't buy shields. Don't buy memorabilia. Don't buy anything like that until you feel like you're financially secure enough to do so. But if you're rich as fuck and you don't give a shit, then use my promo code GRC50. Any of the Hex RH ecosystem coins on the wall, you get $50 off. It's reinforced. You could beat someone to absolute piss with it if you had to. If you're in a gunfight, it's not a bad thing to have. I mean, it's not going to stop the bullet, but, you know, if it doesn't hit dead on. And if you really look, there's really good texture. If you really feel it, there's good texture.
You're heavy duty. We should, if you're when you come down here at some point, we should buy some BB guns and then we should play tag and use those shields. Like that would be some serious stuff there. We tag with BB guns. Today, guys, we have some awesome stuff for you today.
I'm going to pull you up solo. I want you to give him a little spiel. I left my drink in my car, which is really upsetting me. So I'm going to go grab it. I'm going to put you solo.
Sweet. Awesome. So we have some awesome stuff to go over today. I know we're all excited about PulseX and PulseChain coming out, right? Because those are going to be launching relatively soon. And we have a tweet from Richard Hart, and there was an Easter egg that we're going to talk about that, right? We're also going to talk about what is actually going on with PulseX and PulseChain in that built in, there's actually sell pressure on PulseChain. Yes, there is actually a mechanism built in that causes selling of Pulse. So we're going to talk about that and in depth, lay that out. So in order to lay that out, we need to understand the fees in Pulse, the fees in PulseX, what burn happens with Pulse, what buy and burn happens with PulseX, how LPs are paid, and then we're going to bring all that and put it together so you get to see how there's automatic sell pressure on Pulse. The more popular PulseX is, meaning the more trading happens on there, the more selling happens of Pulse. So we're going to talk about all that. Let's say hi to some of the people in the chat here. You want to say hi to some people?
Did you just tell them about the sell pressure?
Yeah, but just to preview. I pulled up some stuff that we can get into that we should definitely talk about. But did you catch that Easter egg from Richard Hart last night?
I don't really think it was an Easter egg. I think he just had to make people stop sacrificing so he could officially complete the sacrifice balance.
But that means that were still.
It just means he's moving on to the next task, probably.
But they were still able to get credit because if you
what do you
listen
mean
to
still
that,
able to get credit? Yeah, no, they were. Same with PulseChain. Everyone
Right.
kind of knew that.
let's pull this
Maybe
up.
not the new people. Let's talk to the chat real quick, guys. Thanks. We got to scroll all the way up already. I just got here. Symphony, Synthwave Symphony. Nice to see you. Crypto Mance PLS. Good to see you. Don't know if I've ever seen you in here. Mixed AK Jossol. What's up, Jossol? How you doing? Crypto Compassion. Good to see you, man. Human Hex Trafficker. Low. Duke of Booze. We don't really condone drinking on this channel that much, but a beer every once in a while won't kill you. Guys, the Harmonic Hexagon, first time in here. Great to see you. Hey, where'd you find the channel? Just curious, guys. If any of you found the channel from like a random source that I was throwing up, can you let me know that in the chat? I would like to know if any of my random sources are effective that I throw up, because I go on Telegram, I go on everything and send all my stuff around. RIP to Vitalik. Couldn't agree more. His chain is going to absolute dust. It's basically a useless fucking meme coin at this point because no one can use it because the fees are so high. If you need to pay $6,000 for a fee, that means you have to be rich as fuck. How many people are rich as fuck? Yeah, there's lots of people in crypto that are that rich that could pay for that, but that just means they're happy the fees are that high probably because that means no one else is moving. And
you can't get adoption. You can't get adoption.
Well, I know, but even in the short term, they can get positions. They can get better positions because they're just infinitely wealthy because they have properties and everything, you know. WhalesOnly1, PVM Crypto. Great to see everyone. Bob Lagai, thanks for everything you do. Hey, guys, anyone wants to join the Telegram chat, you have to make it through Bob Lagai's admin status. I will not let you in unless Bob Lagai thinks you are eligible.
Thanks, Bob.
Bob is always taking care of Jim Rat Schoolhouse. That's the Telegram. Robo,
and if you need to find that Telegram, there's I would hope there's a link down below as well.
Yeah, I'll get you a link. My producer Jamie had to step out and go to a dentist appointment today, so he is not going to be here today. So GRC is going to just be rocking. That's why I'm trying to go through all this at one time. PulseChain, baby. What's up, Soul? All these new faces, it's killing me. I love it. It's just incredible. Every time I come in here, I don't even notice these names. Soul, let's go. I like your little green alien. YOLO Hex, good to see you. Yo, Cabana got a gas fee of like $26,000 yesterday. Crazy. Yep, the ETH system is absolutely broken and rigged 100% for rich folk.
Damn.
And
Well, they weren't
not distributed properly.
They were not thinking ahead.
Well, you can't think ahead, but
correct.
Same
thing's going to happen.
They could still fix it. They just don't want to put. Vitalik doesn't want to do what RH is going in. Like supposedly they have like only a few devs.
Well, Vitalik, I read the book. So there's a book on the history of Ethereum, and the author interviewed Gavin, who is the person behind, I think, ADA or something. But he also mainly wrote the first draft of Ethereum, and Vitalik and a bunch of other people. Well, in the book, he talks about how he doesn't want to be the head of Ethereum. So if you have somebody that doesn't want to be a leader, there's a reason it doesn't move forward very quickly, because there's nobody fucking leading it. And that's what's happening with Ethereum. And he talks about that in the actual book or whatever. But go ahead, finish going through the comments here.
Sam's audio low for anyone? I'm just curious. Don't switch it up yet. Don't switch it up. I just want to know if it's on my end or his, because it might be on my end. Gavin Wood is from Polkadot. Yeah, we're going to dive into Polkadot and Kusama really soon too. It's not on the top of our to-do list because it's just not really relevant at the moment. But those are projects that I think it's important that people understand, and they have a lot of potential moving forward, but they're it's different. There's different stuff going on. All right, let's add to the stream. Guys, Sam's going to work with me through this because I've been just doing like advertising, marketing stuff more just for the last day. And so I know what Sam's saying. I understand fee structures. I understand the percentage. I don't understand the specific percentages. So that's what we're going to kind of go through today. A little more specific. Like I want to get is just raw. Let's get the detail. If you want to compare and contrast any other fee structures, we can. Or if you want to just move past that and talk about the PulseX pulse chain, why do you think there's sell pressure? Where do you think the pulse chain sell pressure will come from? And extrapolate it over a long period of time, the buy and burn function, is this just going to go nuclear?
Yes. Okay. So first thing to understand is the fees for Pulse and PulseX. So when we take a look at Pulse, there's a fee just like there is with Ethereum, right? There's the gas fee. What do we know about this fee based upon the testnet and what Richard has said? That the fee for Pulse is going to be 1 cent or less, right? So if we look at the testnet, there's plenty of instances where it's a fraction. What's up, Motley? Thank you for stopping in, sir. The fee on Pulse is substantially cheaper, right? It's less than a penny. So when you look at that and then you understand how the fee is like split up, you're going to have a bunch of it going to the validators. I think around 75% going to the validators of the network. 25% of the fee is going to be going to burn, right? So there's a fee, 25 on Pulse.
Oh yeah.
So of this fee, say the fee is 10% of a penny, right? So it's 0.001.
If he misses anything, guys, just feel free to throw it in and we'll just bring it back up.
Yes. So if the fee is a fraction of a penny, which it currently is, it will increase, but say if it's a fraction of a penny, you can do the numbers if it's 0.01 or 10 cents, that it still holds, right? And we're going to get to the point here of how this actually creates sell pressure on Pulse Chain, but you got to walk through the pieces to get to the conclusion, right? You can't see the waterfall without going on the journey first to get to the waterfall. And we're going to take that path to get there. So now when we take a look at PulseX, right, you have a 0.29% fee. So there's a difference here in terms of how the fees are structured. One fee is a dollar amount, and the other is a percentage of the transaction value, right?
Reset that last two sentences, please.
So on Pulse, you have a fee for the mainnet. It's going to be a less than 1 penny, right? Mm-hmm. Of that less than 1 penny, 25% is going to be burned. So how does that work? Well, that percentage is going to be taken and burned. That's it. It's gone. That Pulse is gone, right?
But that's done manually, right? Because of the securities laws.
Correct. So there's going to be an option.
Guys, real quick, when everyone stops themselves doing that, they say, well, it's not automatic, it's not algorithmic, it's not built in the code, but more somebody has to do it. That's just because of some nuanced bullshit legality that they can't say that they do a certain function automatically, because then it becomes expectational, I guess.
Correct. So it's just going to be, somebody's probably going to build a bot that does it automatically, and then they're going to reap all the benefits from that, right? Because you're going to get some type of benefit from pressing the button. Now, PulseX is a percentage fee. So we go from an absolute dollar amount fee to a percentage fee. So if the transaction is $10,000 and you are going to be doing a transaction on PulseX, that's going to be a $29 fee versus a 1 cent, less than a 1 cent.
One more time, just so I can totally adjust.
So say you have 10 grand and you're going to do a transaction on PulseX, right? Yep. You're going to pay a fee of $29 if you're moving 10 grand. Okay. That $29 is a PulseX fee. Yep. Now on Pulse, there's another fee you're also paying. Same thing happens on Uniswap. I think it was Motley
But that's separate from what you just mentioned. So
correct.
You switch back over to Pulse, okay? So the fee for Pulse that you're talking about is what?
A fraction of a penny.
Okay, and what is it for?
So that's just recording it basically to the blockchain.
Gotcha.
So we have the fee for Pulse as well as the fee for PulseX. Mm-hmm. One is a tiny fraction of a penny. The other is a percentage of the value of the transaction. Right. In both of those cases, some in the Pulse side, Some of it's going to be just burnt. 25% of the fractional of a penny is just going to be burnt. On the PulseX side, 21% is going to be taken and is going to be a buy and burn. So there's a little bit difference there that we have to understand. One is just burnt on the Pulse side, and the other is buy and
are they
burn.
both manual because of that specific function? Okay, so on the Pulse chain side, it's merely just burnt. On the PulseX side, it is bought and burnt. So there's a buy and burn function. There's an incentive. They're incentivized in the structure of the tokenomics. There is a feature in which manually the PulseX is bought and then burnt through the fees.
Correct. Now becomes the fun part. And this, good job. This is where, yeah, thumbs up.
Guys, GRC's getting better at learning.
If you haven't already pressed the like button, you should press the like button right now because we're about to get to.
We'll just do a little stoppage.
Go right ahead.
Woo! I love that I could pay attention today. It's a good feeling. Okay, guys. First of all, absolute flex off right now, Sam.
Yo, I have to do one side at a time. Arm full spin in the window.
Guys, wow. This has been an amazing experience for both me and Sam. I don't even have to really ask him. It's been great. We're living our dreams out in real. Well, he's already done similar things, but this is my first time. Anyway, guys, if you could please help me by subscribing and clicking the like button right now. I'm going to drop some links down below. My producer's not here, so I'm going to do it manually. It's going to take me a sec. Please share those links right away. This is the best content being made right now. Whoops!
Look at all the biceps. It's shadow.
It's slipped. Guys, we're diving deep because we have honor, integrity, and the will to win. Let's go. Bam. All right. And guys, check this out. Check this thing out. If I have to ever pee or something in the future, I'll just go like this. And then I'll be right back, guys. Got a pee.
I think that should have like a toilet peeing sound for that.
What's up, guys? It's your boy GRC. No, just kidding.
I think we should have that. Should be like a pee into the toilet sound instead of that cool music.
Hey guys, in the chat too, if anyone knows anything about making shit like that and it's super easy to them, like almost like nonchalant, easy to you, please send me whatever you want. I need shit to use. I don't know anything about creating those, and I do not want copyright strikes. None. So guys, hit the like, send me your shit, send me your money, send me everything you have. Let's fucking go. Let's pull this up, Sam.
Okay, so this was what we had talked about, and then we're going to get back into how this actually creates systematic, meaning it's automatically going to cause a selling of Pulse. But first, let's talk about this. So this is super interesting. Hey, everyone, for real, do not sacrifice any more after 0-100 UTC tonight. That moment is the end of the Easter egg phase. So there was actually opportunity to still get in on Pulse that like virtually nobody knew about until last night.
We all knew about it.
Well, I didn't know about it.
Not the newer people, right? We kind of all knew that because we already done the Pulse chain thing. That's the same way it was.
So somebody could have put in 10 grand yesterday. And
I'm pretty sure somebody could have put money into Pulse chain yesterday, but the rate is so wrecked that you wouldn't want to do it anyway.
But it's probably cheaper than purchasing once it comes out.
Maybe nobody knows that.
But PulseX didn't have the same decrease, like it stayed at 1.75, so that would still be better, you would think, than buying in the open market. Maybe not Pulse Chain, because that probably just kept coming down in terms of the rate. But PulseX.
This is why it's important, and Sam will never forget to pay attention every day for crypto for the rest of his days.
Okay, so let's jump back into here. How does this create selling pressure? So
how does this create selling pressure for Pulse Chain? These tokenomics, these pumpamentals, these features, how do you feel that maybe Pulse Chain has more sell pressure than PulseX due to just the theory of the tokenomics?
So let's touch quickly back on the buy and burn on PulseX. So we have a 0.29% of the transaction value that is a fee. If we go back to the fee that we were talking about, actually, let me share this with you because I put together a little spreadsheet and did an actual video on this whole topic in terms of a deep dive. So if anybody wants to check that out later, they can always check this out. If you want to pull this up real quick, let me make it a little bit bigger so people can see it a little easier. Okay, so this is the $10,000 example, right? We have a fraction of a penny in terms of the fee on, and this is Pulse, right? And then this is PulseX. We have the absolute dollar amount here, and we have a percentage here. 25% of this is burned on Pulse. 21% of this is bought and burned. What does that mean? So in order to understand this, we need to understand how LPs are paid. So I'm going to share a new tab with you. So this tab here, this is how an automated market maker works. So it works by this right here, X times Y equals K, where X is the quantity of one coin, Y is the quantity of another coin, and K is the constant, or like this, when you multiply both of those together, that's what K is. So if this stays the same, if somebody places PulseX for Pulse, right, they're going to place $1,000 order, then what happens? Well, you solve for X, right, because that's what we're switching out in this portion right here. That's what we're going to be switching out. So then that means that Pulse quantity is now 9,000 because somebody's using PulseX to buy Pulse, right? So now there's less Pulse in this equation. We started with 10,000 and there's more PulseX, right? Because they added PulseX to buy Pulse. That's a swap. So what happens in this specific example, also other LPs, is the people who provide these 10,000 and 10,000 right here, they get paid fees, 76% of, let's go back over here, 76% of this number right here, right? So that fee is paid in that pair. So GRC, does this, you like, tell me where you're at. Is this making sense? Like, how do you feel about all this stuff that we're talking about right now? And you're muted.
Let me, I'll repeat to you what I know so far.
Because that's the best way to like make sure you understand it is by going through it and actually.
Yeah, so yeah, I agree. I just had to do one couple things. I just posted, hey guys, I just posted all the links for the X streamers and my pin tweet. Please share them out right now while I'm looking at this and talking to Sam. Okay, so yes, I was paying attention. So the major difference here is that right there, the fee. So let's go through it one by one again.
So we have a quick. So absolute dollar amount as a fee, percentage as a fee. So that means the fee, the actual amount is different. Right here, it's a fraction of a penny. Here is $29, and that means that this is burnt.
Why do you think that they did it that way? I learned and changed.
Well, I don't think they necessarily thought about how this is going to create automatic selling pressure on Pulse. Like this is automatic selling pressure. So in this example, there's $6.09 that is going to be utilized to buy and burn. Now, when we come back over here, this example here, the fees are earned in Pulse or PulseX. Mm-hmm. Now, on PulseX, there's going to be a ton of pairs. You're going to have Hex and Pulse, but out of all the different PRC20s, they're going to have a bunch of those PRC20s that have Pulse as one side of that transaction. Right? Yes. They're going to have Pulse, right? So, and there's probably going to be more pairs of Pulse with another token than there is PulseX. Would that be an accurate assumption to make?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. I agree. Right. I don't know for sure, but that's my intuition.
Yeah. By what you said. Yeah.
Okay. So now that I'm gonna we're get there. We're almost there.
No, I know.
So now this fee is going to be earned by there's 76% of this is going to be earned by LPs, and that's going to be earned in the tokens that they provided. Right. Whether it's Hex and Pulse or Pulse and DAI or Pulse and ETH or whatever that is. So that means some of it's going to be earned in Pulse and some of it's going to be earned in something else. Right. Now, of that fee, $6 is going to be sold and then buying PulseX. So you have a bunch of pairs that is going to be pulse and something else. And that pulse that is earned, 21% of this fee is going to sell pulse. This creates automatic selling of pulse, period. Like, and when you look at the numbers, this is the absolute value of the fee that is burned, right? So on pulse, this much is burned, right? So you can think of this as a roundabout. There's difference between just burning and buying and burning.
Let's look at what Motley said real quick. Let me just, so I don't lose his stuff. Sam, good job breaking everything down. Yeah, Sam, the reason I call Sam every day is because he's the best at breaking shit down for me. 0.0029% is the PulseX fee. It's the cheapest of any DEX. Yes, Richard always would like to make sure his percentages are just a little better. I'm sure. I don't know the exact percentages of the other DEXs. You all pay it. You just not realize it. Yes, I of course. Yep. So it sounds like so far so good as far as Sam's analysis, guys. What do you think in the comments about the sell pressure for PulseChain? Because I mean, it's more so math than anything else. It's not necessarily like what. Just explain yourself a little more as far as just broadly.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
What questions you might have and what maybe you might be missing potentially.
Okay. So I'm going to say hi to Justin real quick, just because he's got a nice comment. So
yeah, for sure. I'll pull it up.
Justin, Walmart Gary V. Guy gives up the absolute savage sponge of knowledge they call Sam. You're a pro in 2 months. Hey, appreciate that. Thank you.
That guy's a pro in 2 months. He's 2 months into crypto. So all you jerk offs that don't do anything all day, get wrecked.
So
what's up, Whales? How you doing, my mans? Hey, and at the top of the hour, guys, Whales, Motley, if you guys want to come on, feel free to just answer the DM, but just ignore it if you don't want to.
So what this does though is this creates systematic selling, and the magnitude of the effect is greater than what's going to be earned as the main net fee. So what does that mean? Let me share this with you one more time and show you, because I want to know from you guys. Like, I want to know what your thoughts are. I just shared it so you can hopefully put that on the screen. In this transaction, right, you're going to have burn of 0.003. And then say this transaction, this 10,000 was between Pulse and Hex, right? So the fee we'll assume was earned in Pulse. So there's going to be 21% of this fee on PulseX is going to be bought and burned, right? So you're going to take the fee that was earned in Pulse, you're going to sell that or swap it for PulseX, right? So that creates selling pressure. And when you look at it, the magnitude is $6 versus 0.003 cents. So there's a big difference, right? What's the multiple?
Sam, you're on the cutting edge of understanding stuff. Isn't it exciting? I'm not saying other people that haven't looked at this, of course. I'm sure there's
24,000x greater selling pressure than buying pressure. This is fucking crazy, dude. Like, I don't know if they.
Yeah, but let's make sure of course, I just want to make sure someone couldn't come in and just be like, one thing's a little different, and then.
Please, yeah, go. Like anybody.
But, in 15 minutes, think of a few questions. I'm going to send some links around. Whales Only, Motley, anyone who wants. I know Whales said he would join. I think it's good. Like, I think we did a good 30 minutes on like what you wanted to present, correct? And that he was mentioning this to me all morning, and I was like, okay, let's go on this route then. And because we're just looking for detail and data, because that's what's going to set us apart. We're trying to be authentic, actually learn.
Think about what that does in reverse, right? Because you got to look at it. You got two hands, right? If we're only talking about the left hand, then what's happening over here? Mm-hmm. On this side, this creates a tremendous amount of buy pressure. Buy pressure is a little bit different than just burning, right? The fee on Pulse is going to be paid in Pulse. That means it doesn't need to be bought in the marketplace. You're going to pay that gas fee in Pulse. On PulseX, that amount that you're going to be putting in is all going to be going towards PulseX. So remember how I said it was 24,000 times greater in this specific example? Well, that is all going to be purchasing PulseX and burning it. Like that's fucking crazy. Like I do think PulseX is going to perform better than Pulse over the long run. Given like this, I noticed this. I literally woke up this morning after my meditation. I'm laying in bed. I'm like, damn, I need to do a video on this shit. This is crazy. Nobody else is talking about how this is systematic cell pressure in here. And I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments. Let's take a look at some of these. Hex is incubating for launch. So we also have to consider, right? Like Motley brought this up the other day. So we have to consider two portions. One of these things came up from Motley, and the other one I was thinking about.
They're both coming on, by the way.
Fantastic.
Yes,
so
dude, I cannot wait to take a 10-minute break and let you just fucking spaz.
I
forgot I can't. I'm trying not to curse, guys. And I'm only trying not to curse to be more disciplined. Not necessarily because I give a rat's butt about because it does actually not help your, that's what they say at least. So I try to be optimized stuff.
Mindfulness. So I'm answering a question from Sandy. Let me just say it out loud. Sandy asked about the meditation app. I just use YouTube, and there's plenty of research behind a specific type of meditation called mindfulness, and it can help lower stress. So like stress has a bunch of negative effects, increasing inflammation, can help you basically hold on to more fat. Your body's less efficient, it affects your hormones. It'll also raise your blood pressure. All these, and this is independent of the psychological benefits of reducing stress and just feeling more centered in your day. So I do, generally speaking, 20 to 30 minutes, sometimes 10, but generally 20 to 30 minutes of mindfulness meditation first thing as soon as I get up. I want to hear what Motley has to say. So when Motley was talking the other day, he mentioned that there's a FOMO of people who, and I got that question that I pulled up and I had him actually take a look at, people who wanted to get into Pulse and they felt that they missed out. So
maybe got lucky.
Right? Yes, correct.
Well,
correct.
The point is, guys, you just dollar cost average what's safe for you. If you blow your load, you're just going to miss the next opportunity anyway. So just stop blowing your load. All my friends always message me and they're like, I spent all my money on Hex. Did I do a good job? And I'm like, no, you did a fucking bad job. I said, you should have done it slower. You should have paid attention. You should have looked into it. Now you're just going to cry like a little girl when it goes down 2% because you're so not stupid. They're not stupid. They're just ill-informed.
What Mark asked the question, Mark Henrietta.
I sent those links to you too. Let me go up a little bit. Is it all the way at the bottom?
It's a purple one with the M logo, purple with the white logo.
All right, here we are. Great. So I'm way more into Pulse and have very little PulseX. Should I have done the reverse thing? No, that's not. No. I can predict price. One dude can come in and buy $10 million or $1 billion of one thing, and then the price goes to the moon.
I'm not trying to say that like Pulse is a bad thing. I do think Pulse is going to be uber successful. You're talking about tokenomics
rather than, dude, nobody knows what adoption is going to look like. Adoption can outweigh all these percentages by billions of percent. Who knows? Think about it. What Ethereum did. Ethereum's trash.
But I think that the value,
great, actually, not trash, but right now it's trash.
The value. Think about what happens if you have $1 million worth of transactions per day. That puts
$1 million. It'll be way more than.
But okay, so just think about this. Say if it's $1 billion. Say if it's 10 billion. It doesn't. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what that dollar amount is. There's a portion of that billion per day that goes to selling Pulse. Period. A portion of the transactions in a given day go to selling Pulse down. That's just part of that is part of the structure of how this is set up. And part of it is
why Richard would have thought about all of this 10 times over.
So maybe he wants it to do worse.
That's what I'm saying. So it could be the way it should be. That's the thing that we don't really know. It's like, what does long-term adoption look like? Just because of supply, Sam, this is another point that you might not have thought about. Just because the supply is decreasing does not mean the value of the coin goes up. They're not directly correlated.
No, correct. But what they're selling, right? So if you're decreasing demand.
Is there other coins with buy and sell? There's other coins that have buy and burn functions. They're not decentralized.
Is there? I don't know.
They're not decentralized and immutable, certainly. Every single day. You guys are awesome. A-Bit in the house. Flex it for A-Bit.
What's up, A-Bit is in the house. I'm looking forward to your $1 million challenge or $1 million pulse challenge.
I'm also looking forward to the 100,000 hex giveaway where I get to make a super epic video.
Oh, yes. That'll be dope. Crypto Games
She's coming on tomorrow for 30 minutes, Crypto Stylist, to talk about the giveaway.
Oh, that'll be dope. Hell yeah. That'll be a fun conversation. I didn't get to talk to her much last time she was on, so that'll be
Are you going to 7 p.m. tomorrow? Are you going to is it Thursday or Wednesday today?
Today's Wednesday, I think.
Tomorrow at 7 p.m. You want to go on with Jesse, or do you want to leave it till it comes out?
We're good. I'm good for tomorrow night.
I know, but do you want to do it, or do you want to wait till it comes out? Since it's not, I've been thinking about it. Like, do you want it? Should we just wait until it comes out? Because it's like at this point, it's like, are we just punching air?
No, I mean, I still think there's some interesting stuff to learn.
Are we learning facts or are we learning theory? Is what I'm kind of getting.
Why?
Because, like,
you seem like I'm definitely.
I'm worried because I'm just like I'm focusing a lot. Nothing about liquid loans in particular. I'm focusing a lot of things that don't exist. And
but that's the same. But that's
people need help with.
But that's what we're literally doing 2 of them right here. These don't exist.
Yeah, I know, but the other ones are. Yeah, I mean that's true, but it's like that's the product. Then there's a product that's built on the product that doesn't. It's just like you're getting further away from the source at some point, But it's not because when this is all out, I'll fucking cover everything. But I'm going to talk to Jesse. He said he wants to come on tomorrow at 7. I'll still do it. I want to know what questions you want to ask beforehand, Sam. Roughly, not directly, but what are you thinking about asking him directly? If you don't mind me asking.
I want to just make sure there's Hexagon Cat, I think is how this name is spelled.
Yeah.
Hexicat is in the chat, and they're helpful as well.
Yeah, he is extremely helpful.
In the chat, so that's very, very helpful. And I want to just make sure I understand the nuances of it, because those are what is going to be valuable. And just like how diving into the details allowed me to see that there's an automatic sell pressure on Pulse, I want to make sure I'm understanding the details of liquid loans to see if there's any opportunities there too, right? To see what else is going on.
A-Bit, I'm going to write that down, A-Bit. So 7 o'clock tomorrow, A-Bit. You think I should go on tomorrow? Since it's not Hex in the morning, it'll be a separate segment. And then Sam, that'll be a separate segment.
Cool. Yeah, try it out. We can try once a week at nighttime for now. I still have to figure out how to do live streams on my channel to see.
We could do that too.
To simulcast on both channels.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to figure out how to do that.
No, you don't have to figure it out. You have to get with me an hour before we start because I have to produce the thumbnail hours and hours before. And when
that doesn't have anything to do with the simulcast, though.
Yeah, it does, because I have to put your stuff in there before I enter it in.
Well, mine doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be. I just know how to do it. It doesn't matter.
The way you have to do it is stream it through I don't actually know. Let's just get with Bullish. We got to get with him for a little bit. Cool. Bullish, my producer, he's out with a tooth problem. Devastating. Tooth problems are devastating. I hate that shit.
Yes.
All right. So what are we going to write about that? Please ask why 3 tokens are needed. Why are 3 tokens?
Because one has to be able to extract the value out of it.
A-Bit likes Jesse. A-Bit likes Jesse. I like Jesse too. I thought he was a good to gab with. He's very direct and says what he knows what he's talking about.
Yes.
LL is a great project. I mean, again, with the verbiage, I don't like the verbiage there. LL is a great product. LL doesn't exist.
Yeah, but neither does Pulse, dude.
Yeah, but I'm not saying Pulse is a great product.
But you do say it's a great product, right?
No, not like that. I would say I'm assuming it's going to be the future due to the way that it's structured. But I would never say I know for a fact Pulse could fail.
Correct.
And I know for a fact liquid loans could fail.
Correct. 100%.
And then when I did 7.5 hours of footage talking about why people should buy them both directly, I don't say that. I say these are new speculative assets that are absolutely risky. And this is the cutting edge 1% of the internet. So if you are not ready to get wrecked, get the fuck out of here.
Yes, and if you go through and you dive into,
and I'm not hating on anything.
If you go into dive into any project, you need to understand what you're doing. Like, right, all of them could go to zero. Like, especially if you look at how other things are, in the past done, and utilize that as a framework and understanding the details, like the stuff we were just talking about creating cell pressure. There's going to be a much bigger amount of cell pressure on Pulse than PulseX. Logan says that PulseX will pump hard. It will be the heavyweight of thousands of projects in coming years, but I disagree on the layer one. Pulse will hold the highest market cap. Just look at all layer one. So let's talk about that, because that's interesting too. When we take a look at what we were just talking about, right? You're like, okay, there's automatic cell pressure on Pulse, but you're like, well, that's what it's built on. Look at Ethereum. Nothing built on Ethereum is bigger than Ethereum. Nothing built on BTC is bigger than that. The counter argument to that, Login, is, in my opinion, right, and I could be missing something, is that if you have a layer one that is, and I think this was brought up by Motley or Crypto Coffee, is that if you think about doing transactions today, it is cumbersome. If you need to buy Hex, right? What was the example he talked about? So I'm ready to get wrecked.
So ready to get wrecked. All in PulseX. This is not a test. Don't miss the opportunity of a lifetime. He's so right, guys. We're sitting here every day for a reason with PulseX, and Hex.com. Richard has proven to me that he is detail-oriented and can create things the way that he says they are created. Rather, I'm not saying that they will necessarily work. I'm saying that he is detail-oriented and very clear-cut about what he's doing. And that you don't see in crypto.
Well, so do you think, like, to go off of what Logan was saying on the counterpoint of that, do you think in the next 12 months to 36 months, 60 months, however long it takes, there's going to eventually be created a way to make it so much easier? Think about the process you have to go through and buy Hex. You're like, what's the easiest way to do that? USDC. So somebody goes to Coinbase, they buy USDC, and then you're like, oh, actually, you need to buy Ethereum with USDC to buy Hex. And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about, right? And so, to a counterpoint to what Logan is saying, I think that over the next 12 months to 36 months to 60 months, however long it takes, the layer ones are going to play less and less of an important role like they do today, because of the cumbersome nature of doing anything. Like, if you have a coin, you don't want to have another coin that you need to purchase to make a transaction. That's silly. Like, think of in the real world, like, that's silliness. So I do think in the short term, layer ones will definitely perform very well. I think Pulse are going to perform awesome. But I do think that over time, it'll be less important as these things are ironed out and created in a way that makes it way more user friendly. Think about how cumbersomely complicated it would be to explain this to your mom. You need to buy this other coin, right?
I've tried it.
Right, and you're like, Mom, you have to have USDC and ETH to buy this other thing. She's like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Like, it's so complex. Why would you just like, hey, you buy USDC, you're good, and the rest of that's just in the background, and nobody has to see any of that piece of it. Like, that's coming in the future. I don't know when. I just feel that
we're the future of the financial industry and the media upon it. Therefore, if we want to make the world a better place, we have to do things the right way. And I think Hexicans are just ready to be those people right now. I think this is an army, guys. This is not just a cryptocurrency. We're trying to change the world. Richard Hart is the mastermind behind, he had all the knowledge, all the Bitcoin knowledge, all the finance and business knowledge before we ever even knew what any of this shit was. So he is the guy that in the room that knows more than me. And so far, everything he said has came to fruition for the most part. And his name has been constantly tarnished and brutalized. And he has done nothing but be transparent and do good for the people. So just know all the people that don't like him are just media media slave, sheep, pleb, fuckers. The minute someone says they don't like Richard Hart, just say, well, then you don't know how to study or look into people. Because why would you not like him? He's done so much good. And find somebody he's robbed. If you could find somebody he's robbed or scammed, find them. I have never seen one.
When you talk about Richard Hart, because I don't have the same context as you, it reminds me of Elon Musk, in that there's a lot of FUD around Elon Musk, and yeah, he's trying to do the right thing and help people, in like what you're saying about Richard, right? And there's so much FUD around Elon. What is your take? What is your take personally that Elon Musk purchased about 10% of Twitter?
He did?
Yeah.
I have my, the crypto community has their ruffled feathers with Elon Musk because we watched him dump all that Dogecoin on everyone's head and pump the price to 72 cents. So we're all kind of like.
But he hasn't sold.
He's never sold Dogecoin?
Correct. Or BTC.
You're telling me that Elon Musk or any account he's affiliated with has never sold Dogecoin?
Correct.
Wow. That's incredible. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he said that on the earnings call.
He still pumped that, which is fucked, but at the same time, he didn't dump it. But I mean, those events are pump and dumps. Like they're pump and dumps, like because rich people use them as pump and dumps. Everyone knew that had a brain cell that thing was pumping and was going to dump.
But the same thing is going to happen to Pulse and PulseX.
Why? No, Elon Musk can decide to go on SNL and talk about PulseChain.
Right, or some clown is going to do that just to pump their own.
Yeah, but when
then they're going to dump.
The difference between a meme coin pumping and dumping is that it's never going up until it fucking goes up. Like fucking, if you look at the hex chart, the whole fucking thing goes straight up. But the downs, they're just different. It's different. Meme coins are treated a little different, but you can still. Hey, if you bought Dogecoin, I'd rather buy Dogecoin right now than Bitcoin. I promise you that. No, I would. If someone had a gun to my head and said buy one or the other, which one will outperform? I'd say, oh my God, Doge every day.
Do you? I feel that Elon Musk supports free speech, and that is one of the reasons why. If you look at the things that he's putting out on Twitter and polls, and he purchased, and now he's on the board of directors for Twitter. I think that is a positive win for free speech. Like I think that's a good thing for free speech to have him on board. Like. I used before.
We all love him and his product, and he has the best company in the fucking world. We all know it. It's not. It's like it's not. Nobody doesn't respect the guy. We just think he dove into crypto without knowing what the fuck he's talking about, so we kind of get pissed at him. But at the same time, it's like we're all rooting Elon Musk on. Like,
hey, we should get Elon Musk on.
We will. It'll take probably a year, 1.75 years.
That'll be dope.
I can extrapolate. That'll be after Rogan too. That's going to be a big episode.
In terms of read the white paper for Doge, I'm assuming.
I'm not saying buy this or that. Just definitely read the white paper. He's just saying in general.
Educate yourself. 100%.
A-Bit is an educated man, and he's really. You could tell how dedicated he was to the Pulse Tour, and it was really inspiring to see how dedicated he was to the Pulse Tour. To be honest, that's an inspiration. Like A-Bit, what he was doing and talking about doing is definitely an inspiration. Like with what he's been able to go through and change himself into the leader that he is today from 6, 7, 8 months ago when he started, like to become a much greater man, a human being that's capable of like creating so much more impact than he was 8, 7 months ago is like, that's, it's inspirational to see that people are going through and creating the impact that they want in the world. And I think that a lot of people are, impacted in a positive way from that journey. And hopefully they can do the same exact thing from what we're doing here. And as we're growing through this and learning right from like straight up noob here to like what you were, and now today I know way more than I did 2 months ago. Like it's crazy. Imagine your brain can just fill up with shit. Real quick, do a lefty flex.
Left I was.
What's up, guys? It's your boy.
What's up, guys?
What's up? That was good. That's what we call teleporting around here. Motley.
Is that the new thing? You guys put that on before you bring guests on?
I forgot how to do that.
Just flex them on the screen.
Yeah.
Motley.
What's up, guys?
Hey guys, I need you guys to talk. You guys, what have you thought so far? Everything we've said.
I've been in a meeting, so I've been like trying to listen into the conversation. I was probably getting in trouble in the meeting because I was halfway paying attention to our meeting and then you guys. So my attention was kind of split. I saw the one thing I really liked was it looked like Sam has really broken down the fee structure as far as like PulseX and everything goes. So that was really cool. I watched him explain that for a little bit, and yeah, I haven't got to see much of what you guys have been talking about today.
So effectively, I'll just give you a quick recap. The way that things are structured, it's like already set in stone, is that the fees involved cause a automatic selling of Pulse. The way that it's set up. So you have sell pressure every single day on Pulse. The more successful Pulse X is, the more sell pressure on Pulse. Because so if you look at it, and then this is like our conversation the other day. You're like, PulseX seems to have potentially better, like, structure the way it's set up, right? And I was like thinking about that, and then I was thinking about the fees. So we've got an absolute dollar amount for a fee on Pulse, right? Like a fraction of a penny for a transaction.
Yep.
So like a tenth of a penny, right? Maybe less or maybe a little bit more. On PulseX, we have 0.29% of a fee. So we have a percentage of the transaction value and then just an absolute dollar amount. The percentage is a bigger number, right?
Yep.
$10,000 transaction, the fee is $29.
That's why I was saying that the fee earlier on PulseX is just going to be, there's going to be a lot more. Like that's why PulseX is going to be much more profitable than just delegating your Pulse to a validator. It's going to be a fraction of a fraction. It's going to be super small. What do you
think about the sell pressure though? So would you agree? So would you agree that LP pools on average, say there's 1,000, say there's 10,000, 100,000, whatever quantity of LP pools there are, a larger percentage of those pools are going to be Pulse and some other coin than Pulse.
Because that's the automated. And there's going to be more pairs too in the exchange, right? Because like the automated MakerBot is going to literally go around to all the ERC20s, and it's going to take all the Ethereum pairs out and replace it with Pulse, right? So the supply is going to go up. And this is another reason why I think it's just not going to move as quickly as PulseX is, because I think naturally, because there's going to be more pairs created with Pulse than PulseX, that there's just going to be more liquidity, right? And we've learned with Hex, balancing that liquidity is very important as far as being able to pump the price very quickly. Also, it kind of works as a double-edged sword when it comes to, but you still want to have a nice balance of liquidity, so you have the ability to pump the price with very little economic mass entering the system. So I think already Pulse is going to have a much higher liquidity than PulseX.
So right, okay, that's also another very interesting take on that in terms of the liquidity side. Now, because there's so many pairs, if you're an LP, you earn fees in the pairs, correct?
That's familiar with this. I should probably get Wendy's for Tindy's on, because he does this. I believe you earn fees in the coins you're swapping, right?
Okay, so you earn fees in the coins that you're swapping. Now, of those, so this is when putting it together, you have 0.29% fee. That fee is generated in Pulse and some other token. Of that fee portion, 21% is then sold to purchase Hex. I'm sorry, purchase. Correct. So a portion is on a bunch of pairs is going to be Pulse, as you just alluded to. So there's automatic sell pressure on Pulse. If you're doing $1 million a day on PulseX, cool. Then there's a fraction of that million that is selling Pulse. If you're doing $1 billion a day, then there's a larger percentage that is selling Pulse. If you're doing 10 million, then like the numbers are just there's always going to be automatic sell pressure on Pulse.
Yeah.
So I want to hear your thoughts on that.
It's the gas in the ecosystem. It's the dumb pipe, right? Like, and yeah, our dumb pipe is better than everyone else, and layer ones have shown the tendency to just perform really well. But at the end of the day, finding the premier assets that are built on top of the dumb pipe, and like Richard talks about this all the time, those are going to be your most valuable. That's why store value is a better value proposition than just say the thing that the chain it's built on. So like Ethereum, the dumb pipe, all these things that are getting the assets. So Hex is like going to be your premier asset. Even PulseX, again, I think is just going to be better. It's PulseChain is going to do really well. It's going to be amazing, and as the ecosystem grows, everything goes up with it. It's going to be the cool stuff that's built on top of it, the dApps and everything that are eventually going to see a lot of value. But that being said, I still consider PulseChain like the one of the premier assets. So like it's always going to do really well. I think it's just going to lag behind a little bit on PulseX. But it was funny because I saw this conversation on Twitter because it was funny. Someone was making the comment about like, oh, I'm tired of seeing everyone compare PulseX and Pulse and which one's going to do better. Like, don't get it wrong. Like, I like all of them, and I'll continue to build my bags and all these assets. It's fun to sit here and go over and speculate on why you think one's going to outperform the other or vice versa. And there's no harm in it. It's just they work differently, right? They had different purposes, and this is what Richard says. There's not one coin to rule them all. You do need to fit. You need these product fits in different areas, and you can't do it with one coin. What's up,
Real quick, let's do a flexi McFlexi. Boom.
What we got left? And then Wales is on. Yeah. I knew he was flexing too. I know Wales is flexing.
We're doing awesome, Wales. Thanks for coming on, man. Well, I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think about the automatic sell pressure pulse?
I don't really understand where the automatic sell pressure is coming from. I don't get the term. Who's selling pulse?
So if you have a fee, right, on PulseX, that goes, a portion of that fee goes to buying and burning, right? And when you look at what the fee is generated in, the fee at 0.29% on PulseX is generated in the pairs, right? So you're going to have Pulse and Hex, Pulse and ETH, Pulse and etc.
Yeah.
That fee is earned in those tokens.
I mean, we're assuming that. We don't actually know that to be true because it could be earned in anything else. It could be earned in LP and the PLP coin. We don't really know.
It's a copy of Uniswap. So how is Uniswap? That would probably be our best
indicator. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. They can tweak all that.
I think he is though correct now. If it still functions the same, it will have Pulse and whatever the pair is, or any pairs they generate from anything.
But that's going to be the case for anything that uses a reward, right?
But the coin, I don't think you would structure it that way, because think about what happens, right? If you have 10,000 and 10,000 that make up the quantity of two things. If you have 10,000 two stable coins, right? So if you put in another 1,000 of one to swap for the other, what happens, right? The fee is paid in that, right? Unless you're going to be like, pay the fee in Pulse, then it just creates more.
Right? The fee is paid in PulseChain because that's where the transaction happens, right? Now, when that on the network, that's
correct. So there's two fees.
Yeah. So then there's a DEX fee, and then there's the fee to just make the transaction happen, which is for the gas.
Correct.
Right. Yep. So those are the two pieces. On Uniswap, it's I don't even know what the Uni token does. I'm guessing that's part of it, but nothing, right? No, I don't think it does anything. It's just all Ethereum.
It's your code check fee to get your tokens.
Right, but here it's not just all Ethereum. It's a little bit of Pulse, a little bit of PulseX, right? So that's the difference. So you have two things to take into account. Now, the difference here is that when we're talking about PulseChain, it's not just the transaction of buying and selling. You got to take into account the transfer.
Yep, we did that. It's a trivial amount. Like, I'll pull it up right now. It's trivial.
Of course, it's going to be trivial. It's a brand new chain, bro. You gotta think long term.
Correct. You think long term. If you think PulseX is going to be successful at 1 billion transactions per day of dollar value, then this is even more selling pressure on Pulse.
I mean, I don't think you got to look at it like selling pressure, because you have to realize the network has to exist.
Completely agree. I completely agree.
But my point is, look at Ethereum. Ethereum, people have to buy it. No, yes, it does. People have to buy Ethereum in order to do anything on that network.
I buy Ethereum all the time.
But a buy and burn is not part of the premier DEX of Ethereum.
But you're just talking about one aspect of the system. You have to look at the system entirely. Do not
Correct.
just
And this is
focus
part
on-
of this. This is the big part of the system because these two pieces are going to get hand in hand, right?
Yeah, but it's just still one piece. Like what I'm saying is look at it holistically. Don't look at it
Correct.
as just what's happening with the trades, because the trades is just one part of the puzzle. If you go on Etherscan, the leading gas guzzler is not just trades. Something to think about.
Well, can you go ahead and explain? I don't know what you're talking
NFTs. Anything else besides trades takes.
about. That's a trade, but you're just talking about a trade. That's a fee.
But it's no, because when you're making it, when NFTs are being minted, is not just trading. It's a whole slew of crap that's happening in the background, and all of that shit requires Pulse. So people gotta buy Pulse in order for it to happen.
So I thought about that, right? So you have this tiny trivial amount, right, like less than a penny, that is going to be generated as a fee, and to do on the trading compound.
I think you're underestimating the cost for NFT to exist on Ethereum. People here are incentivized to like dive in cannonball style into Pulse Chain because of the apparently negligible fee. I mean, what happens if within a year the NFT ecosystem has doubled somehow because of Pulse Chain?
Yes, but that's going to be positive for PulseX, which means the amount that is
Positive
bought
for
and
the
burned.
entire ecosystem.
So, but the quantity, the difference in the numbers, if you run the math, it's still going to be automatic sell, like period. Like
I mean,
even if
I get that, but I think the difference in opinion that you and I have is that I'm looking at the whole thing. You're just looking at PulseX versus Pulse Chain.
No, you factor in the same exact stuff. There's a lot of people who have FOMO, right? Motley brought this up the other day. FOMO, right? They're like, oh, I missed out on Pulse. Let me buy Pulse. Cool, right? You have buy pressure there. You have other dApps on top of Pulse Chain that require gas. Cool, factor that in, right? Either way, those are tiny in comparison. Unless you have the gigantic, you have to have exponential growth on the number of transactions outside. And if this is going to be the premier DEX, so you have DEX, PulseX. That's going to be the premier place to do transactions, supposedly, right? That's the idea behind it. The premier place to trade any PRC20s. So if that's accurate statement, then that's where a lot of liquidity is going to take place. But to Whales's point, you're going to have places where people are going to do NFT shit. You're going to have places where people are going to do other stuff that requires a Pulse fee. But the Pulse fee being so low, and if you take 25% of that tiny little amount, right, it's still a low amount. So you have to have like thousands of X increase in the number of transactions.
The buy and burn function on PancakeSwap does the same thing, and there has been no issues with it so far.
I don't know anything about PancakeSwap. I'd love to learn more about
Binance. So that's Binance. PancakeSwap is the Binance DEX.
There'll be sell pressure, but it'll just be very minimal. I mean,
I just don't
in the
see
grand
it
scheme of things,
being
it won't be. It's not like an issue, but it will occur just with how the DEX works.
Who owns or who's behind PancakeSwap?
BSC, isn't
they created PancakeSwap?
Binance Smart Chain.
That's who created that one.
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, okay, dope. Okay, I gotta look more into that. So I gotta look into it and see.
I don't know that shit either. So
interesting.
We can talk another segment on that or whatever. We can talk about whatever. But
do you think that there's going to be it's just going to be such a trivial amount that's barely going to be able to notice? It sounds like Whales.
Yeah, because PLS, the fee for PLS is negligible, right? So you can't actually expect it to matter. Like
but that's on the Pulse side.
But that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Pulse Chain, not PulseX. See, PulseX is obvious. I don't think we need to discuss that. We need to.
But that's where the selling comes from.
But but that's the point, right? If we're talking about, if you're saying how much of this selling when a trade happens is Pulse Chain. That's
So do you believe that in the Premier DEX there's going to be a bunch of pairs between Pulse and some other token?
I mean, It depends.
There will be just via the
Depends
AMN
on the
bot.
liquidity pools that people make. Actually, I mean, the bot is just a start. It doesn't.
So
It's step one.
so if that holds true and it is the same structure as Uniswap, which has been said multiple times, then the fee charged on PulseX is going to be Pulse, right? Some of that fee, it has to be sold to convert to swap to PulseX, right? So what happens to that Pulse? It gets sold. And because you're doing a percentage of a dollar amount versus a fraction of a penny, there's several magnitudes of difference in terms of the size.
Of course. But that's what I'm saying. We're looking at a fractional amount relative, in terms of Pulse, relative to Pulse Chain. Because even if you're talking about taking that whole dollar amount, right, of Pulse that's being burnt to or swap to Pulse X, right? Where is that Pulse going?
That's a good point. It's just being sold in the market.
Is it?
Where else is it going to go?
Could be going right back into a buy. We don't really know. That's the thing.
Well, either way, it has to be sold to the market. Like there has to be another party on the opposite side of it.
But we don't. I guess what I'm saying is we don't know all the mechanics, so we can't make these wild assumptions as if we know. Because that's why I'm not talking about anything. We don't actually know everything. Like until the docs come out, I don't think anybody should be doing any math and making any bets on that math. That's like my thing, because you're basically lining yourself up to take these actions, and you don't actually know if they line up with reality. So
I mean, this is just all the information that's presented by Richard Hart. So if you believe what he says, then it would be accurate. If you don't believe what he says, then it's not accurate.
No. Time out.
Go ahead. No, go.
This isn't Wall Street. You wait until the shit is done. Do not go by what people have said in the past, because once they're coding and actually doing things change.
Correct. And I would not recommend anybody do any of the things that I'm talking about. This also doesn't recommend I'm doing anything either.
But that's why I'm saying, like, that's why I'm not putting that much weight on it, because it's like, we don't really know. You know, we're just all really leaning on what we think we know. We don't really know. So, you know, what happens if this selling pressure isn't really selling pressure? Because, you know, RH is the king of fundamentals. I'm hard pressed to think he's just gonna let people drop the egg on the floor. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I don't have the background to have that belief in.
Yeah, well, there you go.
But
you're gonna take his word at face value, though. You see, and that's the problem with analysis. You can't.
That's what you're doing. That's what you just described. Just taking it at face value. You literally just described.
I don't take it at face value, because.
But you literally just said you did.
No. Hold on. There's action, right? There's experience predicated understanding, and then there's a forward-looking statement. They're not the same.
You can feel free to elaborate.
Okay. So if somebody's saying, "Hey, we're gonna do this," that's a forward-looking statement. You don't actually know that they're gonna do that. However, if somebody typically does something, then you can pretty much bank that they're gonna do that again. That's the difference that I'm talking about. And you're right. You haven't been around long enough to know that this is what RH does.
He doesn't know anything about RH's background.
Yeah. So what you're saying, if I'm understanding what you're saying, is the information that I have is correct by your assumptions, but given the information you literally just said, RH said this, he did this. So now he's given this information, which gives you weight to believe that this information is correct. Literally, you're just confirming what I'm saying.
You can extrapolate that with math, and you can get a certain number out of it directly. That will be, if you can get a certain number out of it directly, then that's what I don't understand. I don't understand the variables. I don't understand what can be switched. All I know is that all these other chains that suck absolute monkey balls do 64 X's in bear markets.
To Whale's point, though, you have an assumption or like the idea that
I'm just going off past results I'm going off the fact that RH has better product as
let me elaborate based on what Sam just said, because it's a little bit of both, right? I'm going off of what RH has done in the past repeatedly. period. You know, that's what I'm going off of. And in the past, he is the person that always highlights how you can find ways to eliminate dumpamentals relative to pumpamentals, right? So if they're going through the painstaking process of create this super dex, which PulseX is, I'm hard pressed to believe that there is no way that they're not taking any precautionary measures to have that cell of pulse chain nullified in some way, shape, or form. That's basically what I'm saying. And this is, of course, predicated on past history that I have lived through. Now,
if supporting information comes out in the opposite direction, I'm happy to look at it. Like,
well, this is the thing. You're correct because this is all we have. I'm saying that we don't actually know if this is going to be the end result.
Correct. Well, no, 100%. We're just going about what he's presented. This is what he's presented. If you believe him to be accurate in that he says what he means and then he does what he says, right? Because that's effectively what you're saying. You're like, this dude's done this stuff. He said this stuff.
I would say that there's definitely specifics behind the scene that would be more problematic for him to say out loud in front of people than because when he says anything, everyone freaks out. Literally everyone freaks out. Everyone, if he says hello, how are you doing this morning? 100,000 comments. Pulse chain's coming out in 3 hours. Like every video. So he has to be sensitive about what he says. He's a public figure at this point. There's no way. Because if I was him, I'd be like, I wouldn't be saying as much as him. He's putting his ass on the line telling us all this shit because he loves us. But at the same time, there has to be shit that he can't say just due to the fact that nobody takes information well on Twitter.
Anywhere, really.
Anywhere. Well, Wales, I think you mentioned this, that there is other factors you have to consider. Completely agree, right? We have the NFT stuff to consider. We have other dApps. Those are all going to be paid fees in Pulse, and a portion of that is going to be burnt. So that's going to have to be considered, right? Assuming what Richard has said is accurate, right? Could change. Completely agree, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. We just don't know. But it's cool to talk about. There's nothing wrong with that.
And there's also I would assume there's probably going to be a big increase in adoption, which is going to offset, I would think, the selling pressure. I would think that, right? Well, I mean, that's
kind of my point. That's kind of my point when I say, well, let's look at how much Pulse Chain is actually going to be sold relative to what's going to be happening in the network. Because we have to remember, Pulse Chain is the network. PulseX is just the DEX. But everything has to happen on Pulse Chain. There is no PulseX without.
I see a future, right? So that we have future possibilities that are before us, right? Yeah. And one of those future possibilities, with some degree of positive probability, in my vision of the future, is that layer ones are significantly less important in the future. Think about it from the standpoint of like, hey, mom, hey, grandma, you should buy some Hex. Oh, you need to buy USDC and ETH to buy this one thing. You're like, that's fucking stupid. How cumbersome is that to explain that to a normal person?
What'll happen is like what Coffee said on y'all's show the other day is like what Staker app is already doing. Like they're not less important. It'll just be happening on the back end that you'll never see it. So like it'll still take place, but you'll never see it. And eventually most people coming in they'll be so new they won't know that it's actually taking place on the back end, but it'll still be going on and needed for the blockchain.
And it might take 5 years or however long for that.
I mean, maybe Staker's already doing it. So Hex and the community of Hex has led the way on kind of like revolutionary ideas and stuff in this industry. So like, people tend to copy what we do. So like once Staker becomes more popular and people understand like what Staker's doing, like I'm sure other people emulate as well, because like you said, it is very efficient to say, hey, I want my apples, I want to buy oranges with them, but you have to buy a banana in between. People are like, what the fuck? I don't want the banana. But they don't need to know about the banana. The banana can take place behind in the background where the Bitcoin maxis eat it.
Have you guys seen, because like as Wells mentioned, you guys have both have a tremendous amount more experience in this ecosystem of blockchain, not just this, but like of blockchain. Have you seen the effect of Hex rippling into other projects on other chains, like being more open, being more like, hey, let's not take people's keys. Like, have you seen stuff affecting other ETH or other blockchain projects?
Not
Or is,
not the good stuff. Like, so they try to emulate what Hex does, but they have all the negative things that we're trying to get away from. So like Richard made audits popular. Okay, people did audits, but then they tampered the project afterwards, or they still have admin keys, so they could just change it, making the audits null and void. Hex popularized essentially DeFi with Uniswap. Now we have all these other dexes, and we have people trying to copy it, but it's not real DeFi, right? Like, it's still, people don't there's nothing that earns you trustless yield like Hex. Like, you still have to give up something, usually custody or security. They pretend like it's DeFi, but it's not real DeFi. Like, they're trying to emulate it, but it's not actual DeFi. Hex made staking popular. There was a little bit of staking beforehand, but again, it was nothing near what it is now. Like, every coin can be staked now. The burning feature,
Hex
all this
made
stuff,
Uniswap
all this
popular.
stuff, everything.
Hex
Pretty
made
much
Uniswap. What was the most volume on Uniswap?
It was Hex for 3 months. This is it's literally like Hex is kind of Hex has been kind of the example for this bull market, this cycle that we're in. Like, everything shifted away from it, and you see the Bitcoin maxi guys like hurting because everything's over in Ethereum right now. Even with those high fees, everyone's over here because this is where all the innovation's being done, everything's being built. This is where all the yield is. And then this is why you see the Bitcoin guys getting more and more toxic as time goes on, because they see the value leaving their bags, right? Like, they see their bags diminishing from it.
that's fascinating. Do you think that because of like the assumptions that are made or what's put forth by RH, that the effects of future blockchains are going to be, once PulseX comes out and once PulseChain comes out, that like you're going to see the same thing how Hex impacted these other things in a, like a small, like you see
Of course.
other OEMs that are trying to copy some of what Tesla's done in a very haphazard, lazy, not thoughtful, still shitty way, right? Like, there's plenty of other EVs that are just crappy on the market, kind of like there's plenty of other coins on the market, but there's no Tesla on the market, is what how I'm perceiving this, just because it's Tesla's the background.
I mean, we've already seen it. You'll start seeing coins with large token supplies. You'll start see tokens that are completely deflationary. You'll start seeing buy and burn put in everything. Like, it's gonna be the same thing. People, was it copycat? It's just like the form of flattery. Like, people are gonna see it works. People, like, even the people that hate on Hex, like, they'll say it, like, they recognize Richard's success, and you guaranteed, whether they're promoting it or not, they're buying into the PulseChain and PulseX and the Richard Heart ecosystem. And then people are gonna, the space is still a giant money grab for, like, honestly, a lot of scummy people out there, and they're just gonna try to replicate what this stuff does, and then they're gonna rug people. They're gonna take their money and do all this stuff. But you're gonna see the same thing that you saw with Hex. It's just you're gonna see the space try to copy it, but it's not gonna be done well.
And hey, you guys already know what's up. It's another day and other stuff.
Hey, bitch, sound is on. You're muted, GRC. Wales, thanks for the information on that. Like, to continue to broaden that, because I do think adoption is going to be that's going to be like such a big piece of it,
that is the whole
going
piece
forward.
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
because I mean, it's a brand new blockchain, and it's not going to be a ghost chain. And I'm hard pressed to think that if layer 2s take over the industry, which really is non-existent right now, is successful. I think people are very confused. There is no crypto industry. There's Hex and the shit that we do. That is the only crypto that actually exists. I'm not even joking. It sounds funny.
I don't invest in anything else. So.
Yeah, but the messed up thing is that it does sound funny. But it's,
yeah, it does.
By the definition.
Do you see that changing, Wales? Because right now, if you look at market cap of all coins, right, 2.5 trillion or whatever that number is thereabouts, and there's whatever the number you want to believe Hex is, right, 20 billion, right? Do you think that's going to transition to be a bigger and bigger portion of that, like PulseX and Hex is like, sorry, that number is going to go from 2.5 trillion to 17 trillion, but PulseX and Hex is going to be like, they're like this much of that total ecosystem, and that's just going to expand. I know you guys are both already there. Like, but is that how you guys see this playing out over the next 24, 36 months?
I mean,
or longer?
There's no choice. You have to look at the entire space and what actually is out there. When you look at the entire space and what's actually out there, it's nothing. It's a vast wasteland of shit.
It's exactly right, because it's cool, right? Like, go out in the wild and find someone that's in crypto, right? Like, ask people like, hey, are you in crypto? Are you in crypto? When you finally get someone that says yes, ask them what they have, right? And then they'll give you the indication real quick if
That's
they're
right.
actually in crypto and they know what they're talking about, because I guarantee you it's going to be Doge, Sheeb, maybe a little
Meme coins
Bitcoin,
at best.
and Ethereum would probably be their best investment if they bought that. And you'd be lucky to get that. It's meme coins they bought on Robinhood, so they have no clue
Not even in
crypto.
crypto.
They don't know
They
how
don't even-
crypto works. They don't
They
realize
can't
they
even
have an
send-
IOU. Yeah, like I can't even onboard them. It's like, oh, how do I convert it for this hex you're talking about? It's like, well, you have to sell your IOU at Robinhood. We got to get you in. We have to get you an
Coinbase
on-ramp account
account,
somewhere.
yeah.
Yeah, Coinbase,
They're not
Gemini.
even in crypto. They don't even know.
And then we have to get the money off that, because you don't have custody of your coins. And it's just like, they're not even in crypto. Like, they really aren't in crypto. And I guarantee you, every person you go out in the wild and find like that, 99% of the people are going to be just like that. You instantly know when they give you that portfolio. It's like, oh, they're not really in crypto. They're not involved in this space. And it was funny. I had this conversation with my uncle the other day and got him into Hex, and he knows about PulseChain, PulseX coming and all that stuff. So he invested in that. And he was asking me, he's like, because, he's seen Hex go down and he's fine. He's got long-term stakes, so he's not worried about it. But he's like, is there anything else you're investing in the meantime? And I was just like, no, I'm just building up my Hex bags. I was just like, there's really nothing else I want to invest in the space. Like, honestly, like I told him, I was just like, I think this is the future, but right now, 98% of the space is dog shit. I was like, I have Hex, I have some stables, and I have some Ethereum, and I guarantee you that's slowly all getting converted to Hex, especially before mainnet launches. So it's just, it's crazy.
Can you touch on, or either Whales or you? So there's going to be people who watch this like post over the next 3-6 months, year and a half, right? And you're like an IOU on Robinhood, and then the Coinbase. Like, either one of you, can you? Because not everybody understands what you're saying. So tell like what happens on Robinhood when you buy it. What's the difference between like Coinbase, and then why both of them suck?
Go Whales, get it.
It's pretty easy. It's just like in the stock market. You never actually own any stock. What you own is a claim on that stock that the DTCC actually holds. They're the actual owners. You just hold a claim on that piece of paper. You don't actually hold the stock certificate. So you're never actually own the stock. Common misconception. Same deal here with Robinhood. You don't actually own the crypto. You own not even a claim to it. You just own a digital representation that they put on the screen for you in the app. That's it. So you can't not take that digital representation of that so-called crypto in your account and send it anywhere. It's not going to go anywhere. You don't have that functionality within that application. So that's the issue.
And how is that different than Coinbase, right? Because a lot of people probably think of Coinbase as very similar to Cash App or similar to Robinhood. But so Robinhood is just pretending like you have a position. Crypto. You don't really fucking have a position. Right.
Yeah. And Coinbase, you actually do have a position, which does allow you to send the coins, the tokens out of the wallet that you have on Coinbase in your account. So
they send it to you, right? But like, you still
have to wait.
You still have to wait, and they do all kinds of like funny shit. I'm sure funny shit behind the thing, because if you've ever sent money and your bank has sent them the money, but you're gonna wait. If you don't do a direct wire, you're gonna wait anywhere from like 5 days to like 2 weeks. I've seen.
Well, hold on. I actually do debit card. I've heard that wires take time.
No. Wires work perfectly fine.
Really?
ACH
is the other one.
Yes.
So when you guys
that takes time.
What are you guys talking about? The transfer out of Coinbase?
Transfer in
for or out. You can use either one. Yeah.
So either on either direction, it's slow as hell.
And we're talking fiat. We're talking fiat.
Depending what you do, right? So like you can do a direct wire, or like Whales said, now you can use a debit card, and those. I haven't used the debit card, but I've heard that's just as quick. You should get it that day, within like an hour or two. Same thing with the direct wire.
Yeah,
but if you do ACH, where you've got one of your bank accounts linked up, it could take 5-7 days, even longer sometimes, before you get your currency. Like my buddy that I was onboarding the other day, he had 10 grand he was bringing in, and I told him, I was like, do a direct wire. I was like, if you do that ACH transfer, you're gonna sit there for a week, and who knows what price will do. But it's like, I need you to get your funds in. And I was like this in StreamYard with him the other night. I was getting him on, and I was walking through the steps of sending to a MetaMask wallet. And he's sitting there, it's like, oh, I can only send $150 of it. I was like, huh? And so I look at it, I was like, I was like, hey, bud, did you do that wire like I told you to? He's like, no. And I was just like, I told you wouldn't have access to your funds. He's like, well, they didn't notify me that I wouldn't have access to my funds. And I was just like, I did. Like, I was like, I get it. It's shitty, but like, there's a reason for everything I was telling you to do. And now you have to wait. So
Can I get both your opinions on how to best approach this? So I have a buddy who wants to put in like over $1 million. And I was like, I don't know the best way to do that. I don't know if you should stagger it in or what the best way to do that is, but I have, intelligent people who are thoughtful and who
does he have a
experience.
position in crypto?
No, it's all fiat. So he wants to move it into. So what are some of the thoughts on
What kind of God, $1 million God, fiat God is this? Like,
buddy,
I'm just saying, I would approach it like, definitely do not dump all your shit at one time. All my friends do that shit, and it's so fucking annoying.
It's fiat, so he's going to dump his fiat. But how do you?
I know that they do it all at one time, and then the price. In my opinion, they could talk about the bigger money, but I'll just talk about the way I think about it. If you want to just separate it a little bit so that the price action doesn't fuck with you at all. But if he's rich as fuck, he probably doesn't care. So Motley and Whales will probably have to tell you.
I think he was talking about just about getting his fiat in crypto, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean
Correct.
just in? Not
Yeah.
like,
But I think he's
too.
going to go into CACs eventually, but just to get into it.
Man, just a step ahead.
Yeah. So So perfect. So for me, like I already have a Coinbase account set up, so he would have to get that set up, right? So get a Coinbase account. Do like what Whales was saying, do a direct wire or like a debit transfer. That'll be direct. So he'll have his funds and in Coinbase, it'll be in USD. Then you trade it to USDC, which is their stable coin they own. You won't have to pay fees on it. And then you can send it to your own wallet. So get a MetaMask. My big steps for him, especially if he's bringing in money, is always do security first, right? So eventually he's going to transfer into a wallet that he has possession over, right? So like, teach him about a hardware wallet, teach him about seed phrases and how the moment anyone ever gets a hold of these that they have access to his funds indefinitely, that wallet's now compromised. Teach him about being able to put a secret passphrase and have a hidden wallet on Trezor. Like
that's something I need to learn about. That last thing you just mentioned.
So their Trezors are really cool. There's a bunch of different stuff you can do with like breaking up your seed phrase, where you need like 3 out of the 5 to get it to work, or putting a hidden passphrase on there, and it'll bring up a whole new wallet. There's all kinds of cool stuff that you can do with that. But security is the biggest thing. Especially if he's moving lots of money in, so that way he's good to go from the start and not trying to backtrack and get his security right after the fact. Once you get him in there, then you guys can figure out strategies as far as DCAing and getting in before mainnet and PulseX and PulseChain, all that fun stuff.
Okay, cool. So two questions. First of all, do you happen to, and I can probably just Google it, but do you happen to know if you could move that much into a Coinbase at once, or do they like cap you at like a certain amount you're allowed to put in per period of time?
I'm not sure. I moved well over 6 figures a couple times with no issues, just with the direct wire.
Okay, and then
I don't know if he brings in like $1 million plus, if that would be an issue. I've never done that much, but I've done 6 figures.
3 different ways to do it though, so you would have to do the wire, I think, at that point to not make it delay.
Probably, yeah. I don't know if you can do that much with a debit card or not.
Yeah,
there are probably limits on that one. For sure.
I've experimented with it, but I
would do a wire if I was.
Yeah.
Okay, and then on both you, so you guys have both, or I think Whales has, but I know Motley has talked about like the ideas that every person has a different idea of how they want to structure their like ladder or how they want to fucking do their shit. Can I get both?
Before you go to that stuff, he should understand that when he's doing anything in crypto, make sure that when he should just have a separate computer for crypto, period. He should not be intermingling anything.
He can afford it.
He can fucking afford it. That's right. I say fuck a Trezor. He needs to get a dedicated machine that is the only thing happening on that machine, and he should get an EVM within that dedicated machine.
You can do both.
EVM,
whatever
EVM
works,
meaning,
but you don't really need a hardware wallet. Ethereum virtual machine. Sorry.
Okay, what is that exactly?
It's like a it's a computer within a computer.
Is that something relatively simple that I can figure out how to set up, or just talk to somebody else who can help set it up, or several YouTube videos kind of thing?
Depends. I don't know what your technical background is, so can't answer that.
I agree with the separate device, and that's usually how I did most of my stuff. But now that I like a lot of the features now that I've started playing with Trezor, because I had Ledger before, and the Ledger sucks. Like I don't like the Ledger at all. The Trezor really does give you a lot of cool options as far as security stuff, and like that way you can even protect, say, like your seed phrases and all that stuff. If someone ever got a hold of your tangible seed phrases, you can do the encryption with passphrases and the words escaping me on as far as breaking up into multiple accounts like
Sharding.
Vitalik does. Not it's not called sharding. It's called something else. I think it's
Like the multi-signature thing?
Yeah, yeah. But it gives you a lot of cool security options. So I really do. Trezor has started to grow on me a little bit. But yeah, like Will said, even just having a dedicated device that doesn't touch anything else, like even that in itself is great security.
Yeah, just do as many levels as you feel necessary, but
And comfortable
everybody should start with a dedicated machine where they understand what they are doing on the internet. It's very important because this
Okay.
is the main reason that we have these hack issues is because people don't understand what they are doing. It's not actually the system
Operator error.
Yeah, it's typically operator error.
Mine
Always,
was
almost
operator error.
Yeah, like
It typically
10
is.
ways to Sunday,
It's
sir.
common. Well, I stopped the conversation because it's so common. It's just worthy of the interrupt. Like it's really very common.
Shamir,
So
thank you, Hex.
Shamir, there you go.
God damn!
I'm
I was
thinking
like, it's
sharding.
not sharding. I was like,
Yeah.
what
was
the
it
fuck
called?
is it? Shamir.
What was it?
Shamir
Shamir.
secret seed.
Shamir
So
said
like you can break it up into like 5 different seeds, right? And then like you can give them to different people, and they only have one, and they can't access your account, and they don't know who else you send it to, but you can reach out to 3 of your family members and get it right, and that having the majority allows you to access the wallet. So like say like you wouldn't even have access to it until you reached out to all your the majority of your friends that you gave it to. And yeah, you can break it up into 3, 5, I don't know how many times. But it's really cool. I haven't actually personally done it. The passphrase is enough encryption for me. So but it gives you a lot of options with the Trezor. Like I really do like the Trezor now.
So Motley, for your like, I know Wales has a different point of view, like in terms of like the hardware thing, but just so that I get different points of view on this. So having the separate device completely, yeah, that's what I do, right?
I have a
But-
point about that too. What you're about to say about why to not. Some people say do not use, or some people say it doesn't matter if you use a ledger if you have a computer that you never touch for anything, a way that nobody can get it. But generally, the people that come in don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's like,
yeah,
yes, if it was you,
yeah,
Sam, and I was
let's say I'm Jim Rat Crypto, right? And I have a designated device, but I have 5 new onboards that I kind of know from the gym, and I just left my device out. Someone literally just puts in a keylogger into my computer when I'm not paying attention, and next thing I know, they have everything, right? So,
Yep.
yeah,
And
very
Okay.
very basic stuff you want.
it's just
So you could use it both then, basically, is what you're saying.
if your seed phrases get found out, if someone comes in your house and punches you in the face and grabs your notebook with your seed phrases or your Trezor, they're going to be happy either way.
They got to know they're theirs. There's going to be somebody Okay.
Exactly.
So
Okay, so now let's talk about getting it into Hex, right? So, is there
XYZ?
There's enough liquidity to do something with
matcha.xyz is where you want
That's
to
my
go.
favorite. It's an aggregator.
Because it's an
of the
aggregator, and a lot of the times you can't see the footprint is not visible when you take that path, and that's free out. You're welcome.
meaning like he gets it from Coinbase, USDC, and a couple
Sends it
grand
to
of-
his MetaMask wallet, and then once he has it in his MetaMask wallet, is the only point in time at which you can acquire Hex. You cannot acquire it in any other point in time. You can only acquire Hex from a non-custodial wallet.
and then you're just connecting it to
Any
Matcha and
any
then,
DEX. Yeah.
and through is there it's not going to affect the price dramatically for $1 million in terms of
It can, and you better check the liquidity.
It'll show you. So
It'll show you.
USDC is usually the most liquid pair. It'll show you your slippage though when you go to put in the order. So like if he's doing $1 million, he probably wants to do it in a couple buys.
over the course of one individual day, or over the course of like 3 or 5 days.
Well, and this is what's good about Matcha too. You can set limit orders, so you can put limit buys and limit sells in there, so you're not moving the price against yourself, and you don't have to pay gas fees even. So he can even set limit orders, which would probably be the best way if he's just trying to get at a certain entry point and then trying to do it without moving the price against himself.
Okay, and break up, $1 million into 200,000 over 5 days or something.
And matcha.xyz allows you to do that. So that's the one I use. I personally use.
And now from your personal like philosophy or whatever you want to call it, on how you set up your ladders, what is Whales? How do you think is appropriate for yourself, for your life?
Well, given that I'm not a millionaire, what was appropriate for me at the time was to max out my T-shares. So that, for me, required me to do majority of my T-shares at max duration. This gentleman doesn't have that issue, so he can do whatever he wants. But, in order to be financially conservative, he should take at least 30% of his bag and stake it for the max. And that's the Kareem strategy.
So for yourself, you're based, because obviously everybody's in a different thing. So to understand your point of view versus Motley's in a second. Yours was
it depends his goal, really, right? It depends his goal. If he wants to maximize his return, then he wants to maximize his staking duration.
Okay, cool. Because I'm assuming I know he like $1 million is not gonna, like, he doesn't need to touch it. Like,
right. Then he should, if he wants to really create a generation, like a real. Like when I think of Hex and like the power that a 5555 stake gives you, I mean that's like a silver bullet, that's gonna give you what you want regardless of your income level at this point in time, because you're delaying gratification to the max, and that always works. We have nothing but evidence to prove that, so that's why I view it that way. Yeah, you're welcome, man.
Appreciate that. Motley, what is your thoughts on how you did it personally? Not saying that what you're doing is correct for anybody else, but just your thoughts on how you structured your share.
Well, let me do it a different way then, because I think it would probably be more beneficial. Jesus Christ, to making up a new word. I think it'll be more beneficial for your friend for me to explain it this way than just give you my personal staking strategy and Wales' personal staking strategy. Can't talk today. It's really on you to explain Hex and staking properly and make sure he understands one of the most complicated topics in Hex, which is the T-share. So how I did it, Wales telling you how he did it, to give your friend the best advice and everything is make sure he knows the system in and out and what he's either gaining or giving up based on his stakes that he chooses, right? So you need to be break it down as simple as
Motley, you've gone into a robotic state.
Yeah, you're choppy, man.
Oh, I'm choppy?
Now you're good.
All right. Now you're good.
Okay. Yeah, it just caught. Yeah, I saw it cut out on me for a second. So, let's see. Back what I was saying. Yeah. So he needs to know essentially about the T-share. He needs to know what he's giving up or gaining by his stakes. So you're monetizing time, right? So he needs to know. Okay, he can leverage more of his time and get more shares. So you need to be able to explain him the basics. Every year that he stakes longer, he's going to get 20% more shares. Okay, so up to 10 years. After that, he's not going to get any more bonus shares. But what he does get is he's going to get all those bonus shares past the 10-year mark. And if he does anything longer than that, 10 to 15, like Wales was talking about, all the way out to Cuatro Cinco, he's going to get all those bonus shares and he's going to have them in the system longer. And then you need to go back and explain to him, hey, and these shares, they always go up in terms of Hex. So you need to explain to him how the contract looks at someone that's ending their stake. And if they realize the highest ROI in the system, that means their principal, the yield they've earned, and all the emergency and stake penalties, if it's actually more, if they're able to stake for that same amount of time and get equal or more T-shares, the contract is going to recalibrate and it's going to make that T-share cost more expensive in terms of Hex. So you have to make sure he grasps the concept. It's cheaper for him in terms of Hex to buy his T-shares today than it is tomorrow, next year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. So you want to get as many T-shares as you can in the ecosystem and keep them in there, right? Because those are your money printers. You just have to make sure he understands the system fully so then he can gauge the staking ladder best for him.
Let me throw a wrench in there because this is where it gets even more complex. He wants to learn about it, but he wants me to run the ship for him. So he fucking wants, he's like, Yeah,
I got a lot of rich friends like that too, and it kills me because they're smart, right? But they're usually smart in their field, and they've already generated the wealth, so they're okay with accumulating more wealth, but they don't necessarily want to dedicate the time and effort that you have to put into it. So I guess what do you think his overall goal is then to get into Hex then? What do you think he's trying to get out of it? So he's already successful. He knows he's clearly good at something outside of crypto. Like, what do you think he's trying to get out of just Hex? Just more diversification or what?
And I think he sees that the writing on the wall that like fiat's dead and needs to start moving into this. Like, but I don't like. I think that this is a relatively small amount.
Learn what the hell's going on and not rely on it.
Exactly. And see, this is what people get wrong on sales and everything, right? Like, you need to dig down to the core of like why people are doing something.
That's motivation.
And that's fucking perfect that he sees the writing on the wall about fiat and everything, because most people don't, right? So he's already a step ahead of most people. And then that gives you the leverage to like, hey, like, I know you want me to do this, and you don't necessarily want me to explain this, but you see the writing on the wall. You see where fiat's going. You're seeing the transference of wealth going into these other assets, and predominantly it's going into crypto, and it's a better form of money. Why would you not want to start taking, like, clearly you're a smart dude in this area. Why do you not want to start shifting your focus and like learning in here? There's so much more opportunity, so much more X's, so much more generational wealth in this space. Why would you not want to shift some of your focus over here? And I can help you. I can bring those tools. I can bring people over and give you those tools. And like, if he's a smart dude, he'll realize that the logic and what you just said, right? And then you start to have him take the responsibility as you, instead of you just being a custodian. So again, like, I think you can do it. And he's already a step ahead of most as far as understanding fiat is going in the wrong direction. So I think with an individual like that, you should be able to make that transition with them if done.
They're like, so he's got several other businesses, right? Like, clearly, right? And is set up his life in a way that he likes, where he's got other people in place running different types of businesses for him, and he's kind of like the quarterback in so to speak. And
knows how to delegate.
Yeah, and then he's been asking me this for a while now about me doing something for him, like in terms of kind of running it for him. And I don't know if I was like, hey bro, you do this, I have your money. Like, I could just be like, hey man, I lost your money and you can't do anything about it. Like, I've told him this many times. And
then tell him to beat you up if you steal it.
But like, is there an enterprise? Like, how do those guys who are setting up and actually, I'm sorry guys, I have another call that's supposed to start right now. I just realized I actually have to run. Motley, thank you for your insights. Whales, awesome discussion. I appreciate the back and forth. Thank you, sir.
Last thing, Sam. I mean, it's the ultimate passive income, right? Just tell him like, yeah, he's got these people in place. It's just like, imagine replacing those people with code, and you learn that code. It's just like you finding another right person. The contract is his right person that will continue to work for him until the end of time. Like, he needs to dedicate some time to this.
Yeah, I told him that this morning. I was like, hey man, you need to like come over for an hour a week for the next however many weeks until you fucking figure this shit out.
Yep.
Like, I was on the phone with him this morning.
Yeah, don't let him step out and just use you.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate both of you guys' time and your insights. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. I'm looking forward to talk to you guys soon.
Later.
Peace.
I like that. It worked.
Hey, where'd he go? Where'd he go?
I like that. It works. It
You can
works.
smoke your joint, you can get your little puffin, and then you get a little you do it behind the scenes here at crazy times, guys, on Twitter and shit. Like, I can't even look at Twitter for 5 seconds.
But I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, I don't care.
It's just I think what I'm nervous about the most, I can't say too much on stream, but behind the scenes we could talk more, is like I have one sacrifice on Staker app, I have one sacrifice on a wallet that's totally compromised, and I have one sacrifice on a wallet that's not compromised. And the one that is compromised, I'm like, and if the person's watching that's stealing my shit, fuck you.
Have they messed with the stakes yet or no?
No, and I put ETH in there. So I threw ETH in there and left it in there just to see what the fuck would happen. I was like, fuck it. and nothing got stolen. I take my Hedron out. I sent it to a separate wallet.
Right.
So there's no action, but I'm like, just fucking, you know, the anxiety of like not knowing exactly what's going to occur.
Just be quick. Sure. Just be quick on the draw when it launches. And I mean, as of now, you still have the stakes, so maybe it makes it there, maybe not. But as of now, you just gotta take it with a grain of salt, I guess. Shitty.
Much.
Yeah, it's all good though, because like I don't really give a fuck other than the anxiety. Like I don't care about the money.
Anxiety's not good either.
Yeah, that's actually worse.
I just wish the anxiety like portion of it was just couldn't exist until like right beforehand.
Yeah, I feel it.
Yeah, but you'll be all right, brother. Don't sweat it. You're learning now. You're more of a pro than ever before, and you're just gonna keep learning more as time goes on. And the more people you talk with, the more you're gonna learn. That's just gonna be the case by default. And you know, you're in the right place, so don't sweat it.
Unfortunately, you just had to learn the hard way, but I mean, most of us did too. It was funny, like we talked about this last time with
like not clicking on random links.
that stupid Bitcoin Maxi Alex or whatever, just like his philosophy was like, oh, you have to get burned to learn, and it's just like, yes, that is the way you learn. But like Richard countered real quick, just like, oh yeah, like my home economics class, they taught me real quick to move the handle inside the stove so I don't drop boiling oil on my leg. Like you don't have to get burned. Like maybe you just had a shitty teacher, or maybe you just weren't. Maybe no one ever taught you the right way.
I've never been able to learn anything without getting slapped in the absolute nutsack.
And then there's some people like
there's some people I'm like that.
But it's true. It's true.
Certain instances, I'm like that in certain instances. Some cases, I'm smart. In some cases, I can't fucking be helped.
So stubborn.
Yeah.
Man, that's just life, man. You know, some of us are not genius everywhere.
Yeah. Yep.
It sucks, but I learn the second I get hit in the nuts. I never wait.
Most do.
The second I get hit in the nuts, I'm like, damn, dude, I got wrecked. All right, now I'm definitely learning 100%. Like I do it all the time, and it's like it's predictable, but at the same time, most people never change anything. So it's like 100% on everyone else because most people just get hit in the nuts and then wait 3 months and get hit in the nuts again.
Pretty much. I mean that usually doesn't wake you up. Then it's gonna keep happening. Usually that's just how it works. So
I want to show A-Bit's thing that he said with your flag. He said you had a video with your flag on it or something. I want to look at it.
All right. Oh, man. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, a lot of us learned the hard way, though, especially the ones that were in last cycle. Like, I can't tell you how many like narratives I fell for and pumping dubs I chased and speculating on just complete shit or all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I mean
it took a lot of hits to the nuts to learn.
But that was crypto, man. That's what we knew to be crypto because we didn't know any better, right?
Yeah, it took
maybe
me
not that obvious, but here, look at this.
Honestly,
there we go. What a beautiful flag up there.
That's awesome.
Nice.
It's only hex.com so far. I have a PULSECHAIN flag. Should I bring it up there as well? And I'm thinking about heights. So I want to create a little video to have a little fun, and then I will show it to you guys. Right, I have everything set up. My flag is hanging. All my lights are shining, and I want to show you now how my balcony looks like.
Let's see.
So this is how everybody else looks like here in the double tree. Really boring. It's dark. Now look at this.
Boom, 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 boom.
I love it. I love it. It's too fucking funny, bro.
That guy's always got the right amount of caffeine in his system or something. He's always bouncing and moving and driving and taking.
You'll be there soon, bro. It's just life, man. You know.
Oh, it's great. He's inspiring to watch. He seems very
timing. Here's something that's funny about life. We think that we can time the markets, but we can't. But we can time life. Timing is everything. And A-Bit happened to clean his shit up at the right time.
Yes, sir.
It's all about cleaning. I literally cleaned my shit up at the right time. It's the only reason I'm here. I wouldn't have found Hex otherwise.
If you guys haven't seen A-Bit's, I think it was like one of his first videos on his channel where he goes over his story.
Yeah.
He's it was like I think it was his first video, but his story is crazy, like super inspiring. Like
video is this vlog about him, like how he got to where he's at now.
you think you're grinding, but then you go and you watch someone like Abit, who like literally lived in pretty much a box and saved every penny he had and pretty much ate gruel for like over a year. Like you think you're giving up amenities and like putting a couple extra hours in. Like that dude did everything he could to put into Hex, right?
All we can do is laugh.
Like, bro, if anyone deserved it, it was him.
Yeah, if anybody is Hex
Can we
Flex,
not do this video? What the fuck, bro?
I didn't even know what I was doing.
I don't even know what video it was. I just
I'll look for it. Keep doing your thing. I'll grab it real quick. I'll grab his channel and everything.
What I was gonna say is,
that was the first story. That was his last story that was posted.
if anybody's Hex flexing the best is Abit, because he's him and Patrick, and Hex Lion, they're both Hex flexing the best because they're able to do what they want day in, day out, and then not only that, they get to introduce people to this brand new thing every day. I mean, that's great, man. You know, imagine all the people that they probably changed their lives from then to now. So,
I also want to spend time educating people on how to get to the point where you can make a transition without ruining your life first. Like, just because I made mistakes and gotten hurt doesn't mean I made any real bad mistakes. I didn't have any kids. I didn't get in any relationships that ruined my shit. I didn't have any ties to anyone or anything. I had no debt, zero debt, always. Although I wasn't making money most of the time either. And
not positive though.
Yeah, it's just I was always net positive. I never had bad credit, and now I got to a point where I can rent my house out and not really pay anything to live. And my car just got ran over, and they just sent me like some money for it. So it's like I don't really need much to live on, so I can pursue my goals right now. Because I mean, yeah, I want to put more money into Hex, but there's also an opportunity for me to like have a free life. And I'm a freedom guy. And I'm not everyone either. Like I'm different than a lot of people.
I mean, everybody's different, bro. Some people just choose to fit the mold. Some don't. That's really all it is. You know, I don't choose to. When I was in the military, man, I was the most problematic person while being the most utile person. They hated me. Like I could do whatever I wanted, get in trouble, and they couldn't tell me shit. Because I was doing everything they didn't want to do, and I would get it fucking done. And that's just how it was, man. You know, you gotta just play your role, and motherfuckers will respect that shit because they got no choice.
Play the second link I just sent you, Jimrat. And it should be up to the timestamp where you get to see what like Abit actually lived in and ate for like a year plus while he invested into Hex. I think this is the right video. If it's not, sorry, Alan. Struggling.
Apparently.
And where did I stay? I gotta tell you.
Muted, by the way, just so you know.
Yeah, this is.
I made myself just
Crazy.
a little tiny room.
So inspiring.
And this is the place where I lived the last year. For 1 year, I lived in the basement down where I used to rent those 2 apartments.
He rented 2 apartments, would Airbnb them, and they lived in this box pretty much downstairs.
I just made a little tiny room. There it is. It is dark.
You're muted,
Can
bro.
turn on the light. Here we go. Guys,
you're on the phone.
I lived here in this little room for 1 year. I'm not even lying. Look at this. This is where my green screen is. This is where I did all my work for Hex, of course. And you cannot even stand up here. You see, I have to stand up like this. This is my bed. I used to sleep here like this. And I was actually just like for 1 year living a really, really low life, if you want to.
It's like black mold right by his head.
I didn't spend any money whatsoever.
Oh my God, dude.
I had my 2 apartments. I had to work 1 or 2 hours a day for the last year.
He's so awesome
and
for
this is
recording
pretty
all
much
this.
all I did. So what did I do with the rest of those 24 hours everybody has in the day, right? What I did was researching Hex. I found Hex on the 3rd of December, a little bit earlier, but I decided to invest in Hex, and it turned out fabulous for me. Fabulous. So I didn't have to pay rent. I really cut down on all my expenses. You know what I ate the last
you
year?
think you cut down,
and not
Jim Rat.
only lived in this little room here,
Yeah, no,
just like a homeless guy. I also ate
still,
like a homeless guy. I pretty much had
Wow.
only 3 meals a day. In the morning, I ate some curd with milk and oatmeal. And
I was lucky to
as
have bought my
dinner,
house
I had
before
some lentils with tomato sauce.
the virus
And
bullshit.
at night, I had the same dinner I had in the breakfast, just some curd with oatmeal. I did this for 1
I got it for so cheap,
year.
it really feels like I bought it for free.
What did I do with all my money? Of course, I invested it in Hex. And just as I said, it turned out awesome. And this is the reason why I show you this video today. Because I'm canceling my job. I don't want to work anymore. And I want to be a travel vlogger. So in the next scene, you will probably see me somewhere in the world walking on the beach. And I won't be here in Germany anymore. I promise you that.
Yeah, it was so cool because like from here, then he started traveling and it was cool. It was literally him just going to like Mexico, having cervezas, having some good food, relaxing on the beach, and just getting to enjoy his life, meeting people, hanging out, relaxing, and like he earned it, right? Like you saw he lived in a box for a year,
Damn,
ate
dude,
like gruel for a year. Like people think they sacrifice for stuff, and then you find someone like that, and you're like, oh, I could do way more than what I'm doing right now.
Period.
Yeah, I'm pretty much bone dry over here, but I mean, I've never had, that was pretty rough living circumstances for certain. Like I could not, in those circumstances, I would not have thrived. I do not believe. And dude, shouts out to him, always being active, always being positive, always spreading a good message and being fluid. And whenever he talks to me, he seems very, he's excited. And that's what the best, it's really nice when people are excited about life and moving forward. And I think in the Hex community, we found a lot of people that really have a good spirit about them and want to make a difference and would rather, try and fail than just go on their cross being a freaking dork and just not trying,
Let me see. I got you guys on the link. 1 second.
Sorry, and now a little bit more.
Yeah, give Abit's channel a follow, guys. Abit's in the link. Anything you guys want to talk about before I wrap up here? Got anything? We'll be back tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Guys, if you haven't subscribed already, please do. That's really all I want.
You're doing 1 o'clock tomorrow? Not 11?
No, it's 1 o'clock right now.
Oh, okay. I thought you're switching up the time.
Yeah, so guys, I've been working really hard as I can, really, but it's really been fun. So I have nothing to complain about. It's been absolutely way better than anything I was doing before. I can promise you that. And mainly because my quality of life has gotten better because I'm not stressed out to the point where I want to clock everyone that I see.
There you go.
And now I'm just looking at people and I'm like, we can discuss or you can get the hell out of my shit. Like, and it's just a freedom. Hex has given me freedom. Richard Hart, thank you so much for everything you have done. I don't give you straight up thanks enough, but all this crap that I hear, all this bullshit, all the rug pulls, all the everything, and you have been educating me since the day I turned on your channel. And for that, I am forever grateful, whether I ever interact with you again or not. Like, thank you so much for the information you have given me. And I don't think I ever got really a chance to say that because I really do feel that way.
100%. Same here.
Guys, Hex in the morning. We're going to throw up a bicep. You got to promise me you're putting up a bicep, Whales.
Of course I am. I got 2 of them.